be pleased with me, Paul.
Why?
I've been trying to make an attempt to be different.
Well, how so?
I've been thinking quite a lot about your exercise, how I should begin to express my frustration. This is not easy. It's like learning to bowl a cricket ball with your opposite hand. It makes your head feel very heavy.
Well, I'm really glad that you've been trying to do something different.
2 nights ago, Julia was in her exercise room on the second floor, right?
Mhm.
So I was trying to read, but I could not concentrate because her music was so loud. I could feel it vibrating through the floor. You know. So I thought I'll go down and ask her if she could please turn the music down a little bit. But I could not bring myself to do this, Paul, because she was running, bending, dancing, sweating so much that I did not want to embarrass her. Julia was like a desperate animal, wanting so badly to keep up. She was even punishing herself when she could not. She was yelling, "Come on, Julia, Julia, come on, Julia, Julia, come on." So much sweating, so out of breath. Dum 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 dum. Constant. And I've never seen her in that state before.
So you watched her for quite a while then?
I suppose you find this amusing.
Why would I find it amusing?
The ways in which I choose to spend my time.
I do think it's interesting that you describe Julia in the same way that you described the female television contestants. Desperate, primal, like crazed animals. And yet, even though you were repelled, you still kept watching. And I can't help but notice how your energy, when you talk about this TV show, I see the same kind of excitement when you talk about Julia.
My excitement, you said?
The last time you were here, you spoke about Aaron and Julia's first visit to Calcutta. Do you remember how you described him? That he was like an excited kid with a special dessert, barely able to breathe. Quite a vivid image. And it just came back to me now as you were telling that story. Initially, you said you were happy for Arun, that you shared his excitement about Julia. Which is...
My son, I think, seemed amazed, surprised, that a woman like Julia agreed to be his wife.
A woman like Julia, what do you mean by that?
Let me explain it to you in this way. That when Arun was away at school, his mother, Kamala, she had identified a Bengali girl that she thought would be a good match for him. She came from a very well-respected Brahmin family, but she was somewhat fat and not terribly bright, and her name was Omolika. Her face was like a giant bullfrog. So now Julia is a great contrast to Omolika. You have seen her in person.
Yes, she's
She's
not like a bullfrog.
Yeah.
She's quite beautiful. Do you think she's beautiful?
It was clear that Arun felt fortunate to be with her. When they visited that fall, he had to be near her all the time, as if he had to be touching her or she would disappear. Kamala saw it, and she was so embarrassed that she excused herself from the table.
Were you embarrassed as well?
I managed to stay at the table. So the following morning, the moment Arun woke up, he went to meet Julia at the hotel. Now, Julia wanted to do some kind of shopping, so we planned to meet her at the hotel at lunch. So we waited nearly 10 minutes down the lobby. Then I went up to the room. So I heard some unusual noises. So at first I thought it's a sound of Julia weeping. Then I realized my son's voice as well.
You heard them talking?
Not talking. They were engaged. I mean, intimate. And the things they were saying to each other, Paul. Anyway, so I simply stood there, and eventually Kamala came up and she said, "Do you realize how long we have gone?" And then she heard them as well.
How long had you been gone?
It was terrible, terrible, terrible. You know, the look on her face. She just turned and ran to the elevator. After that, we didn't sleep for whole 2 days. And I've never seen Kamala so angry and so upset. Kamala truly felt that Arun was making the biggest mistake of his life.
So was this the event that precipitated your conversation with Aaron? Were you as passionately against their engagement as Kamala?
Paul, see, this is not acceptable behavior for a principled Bengali people, Paul. Making love in hotel? Huh? Moments before you have to meet your parents for lunch? No, he's our only child.
Yet when you first met Julie, you were excited for her.
I was excited because he was excited. But Kamala was right. Julia is not a good match for Arun. And this is obvious to me now. And Thursday night was the anniversary of my marriage to Kamala. So Arun and me prepared a garland of flowers, beautiful garland of flowers, which we arranged on Kamala's photo. We also prepared her favorite meal, lamb curry. So Julia came, she came and took one bite and then left the rest untouched. I thought maybe she didn't like it. It turned out she was saving her appetite going to a big dinner for a young author, Ethan Barr.
And this upset Aaron?
It was his parents' anniversary.
Yes, I understand that, but did it upset him? It clearly upset you.
I think it's terribly, terribly unfortunate for Arun that Julia places her personal desires ahead of her family.
Personal desires. But it sounds like she had a professional obligation.
This Ethan Barr, he's quite young and successful, and he looks more like a movie star than an author of a book. The Pale Fox by Ethan Barr. Julia calls him several times a day. They even talk on the weekend. She left Kamala's dinner wearing extremely short dress, bright green and extremely short, with her hair flatteringly styled.
You saying that she dressed like this for this young writer?
As she was exiting the house, I was sitting alone at the table looking at Kamala's photo. So she came and sat next to me, and she looked me in the eyes. She took my hand and kissed my cheek and said she was sorry about Kamala. And she was wearing this perfume, which was very strong. It was like black pepper and jasmine. Arun spent the evening with children. He gave them their bath, put them to bed. And the whole time, his wife is out with another man wearing this perfume.
It must have been quite a surprise to have been dealt with by Julia in such an intimate way.
I was still stunned. How could she leave Kamala's dinner so easily? And after that, I could not sleep. Lying in bed, I wondered, even 1 year from now, 1 year, On the next anniversary of my marriage to Kamla, if Julia would still be around.
What? Where else would she be?
I fear things will not turn out good for Arun and the children.
And what exactly is it that you're afraid is going to happen? Sunil, can I ask you something? Do you suspect that Julia is having an affair with this writer?
Do you?
There's no way that I can answer that.
Paul, if what you suggest is true, then Julia would bring great shame upon family and...
And what?
She would deserve a harsh punishment.
A harsh punishment? What does that mean? I mean, I understand that in certain cultures, infidelity...
No, the system in America has turned the human being into consuming monsters. You know, they just want to pursue their immediate desires at all cost. They will feast on whatever will fill their craving, believing that there are no consequences. No, don't get me wrong, Paul. I'm aware from experience that to be disciplined is not easy. It can be a struggle sometimes that to put one's family and honor over personal gratification, but it must be done. There is nothing more important than this.
You said you know from experience how being disciplined isn't easy. Well, can you tell me what you mean by that? What experience were you referring to?
When I was an undergraduate student, I became close to a female classmate.
Okay. And this was before you met Kamala?
3 months before, yes. So we met in the library. We were seated beside each other at a study table. But I could not concentrate because her face and her hair. You must be aware of this painting by El Greco, the lady with a flower in her hair. It's a beautiful painting. The woman's face is filled with longing.
Sorry, what was your classmate's name?
Malini.
Malini.
I convinced her to join me for lunch. And shortly after that, we found ourselves spending nearly every moment together.
You were a couple?
Couple.
You were together?
Yeah, together.
Mm-hmm. And what happened to Malini? Sunil, what happened to Malini?
We stopped seeing each other before graduation. Things became very intense quite quickly. We broke off the relationship, and within a year, Kamala and I were married. And this is what had to be done. See, Malini and I were not suited for each other, Paul. She was not from a Brahmin family, and it was not meant to be.
Do you ever wish you told your son about Malini?
It would have not made any difference. He would have simply told me, you made a wrong choice, you gave up on your passion. And he would have married Julia anyway.
Do you think Aaron was right? That maybe you did make the wrong choice?
No, I do not regret the choice I made. I have no patience for those who do not live a principled life.